The film opens with Commander Chesley Sol Sullenberger and Tom Hanks attempting to move U.S. aviation routes Flight 1549 above New York City. The Airbus 320's motors have both flopped because of a bird strike, and the pilot is attempting to track down a protected spot to land. Sol lets completely go and crashes the plane into a structure, bringing about a searing blast. This is only a bad dream, and Sol awakens perspiring and wheezing for breath. It's been scarcely 7 days when Contaminate effectively landed Flight 1549 on the Hudson Waterway, saving the existence of each of the 155 individuals in what the media has named a supernatural occurrence on the Hudson. Nonetheless, Contaminate stays tormented by the episode. Tarnish and his co-pilot first official Jeff Skiles were in a corridor brought in to meet with individuals from the public transportation well-being board who are examining the occurrence. One of the men, Charles Dorman and Michael Late, questions Tarnish over essential things, for example, assuming he had gotten sufficient rest, whether he had ingested any medications or liquor, or on the other hand, in the event that he has been having inconveniences at home. The unavoidable is the reason Tarnish decided to arrive on the Hudson rather than essentially getting back to LaGuardia Terminal. Tarnish stays in contact with his significant other, Rain Linnea, who lives with their two little girls. Rain has been stressed over Contaminate's prosperity since the occurrence. The media likewise investigates the occurrence, with Sol being addressed by journalists. He sits for a meeting with Katie Couric, who asks him what it seems like to be viewed as a legend. Contaminate says he doesn't feel like a legend. Following the meeting, Contaminate glances through the window and encounters when her pipe dream is plane colliding with the city. We see a short flashback of Sol as a young person when he was first figuring out how to fly under Let's Cook a Jeff Cobra. Contaminate and Skiles meet with the STEB individuals once more. They illuminate the pilots that few tests were run on a test system that demonstrated that it was conceivable and plausible to get back to LaGuardia or land at neighboring Teterboro Air Terminal. We return to the day of the episode on January 15, 2009. Contaminate and Skiles require off at approximately 2 minutes into the flight. An enormous herd of geese fly head-on into the motors, causing the two of them to vacillate. Sol keeps in touch with their traffic regulator. However, the flight is lost from the radar. Tarnish then cautions everybody on board to hold on. The airline stewards mind the travelers and read guidelines for them to watch out. Sol and Skiles then make their plunge onto the Hudson. In the current day, Tarnish and Skiles show up on Late Show with David Letterman with the three airline stewards who were with them during the occurrence. Tarnish goes running through Times Square and runs by the Valiant, where after apparition is in plain view. A while later, Tarnish goes to a bar where the barkeeper Michael Rappaport gives him a beverage named after him, which is Dingoose with a sprinkle of water. Tarnish then watches inclusion of the episode on the television. We see one more flashback to that day, however, with a greater glance at a portion of the travelers. There is a more seasoned lady with her old and wheelchair-bound mother who needs to bring back a keepsake as a birthday present for their incredible grandson. A more seasoned man going with his grown-up child and nephew for a golf trip, who make it onto the plane before it leaves. A lady with her child kid and a courteous, moderately aged man sitting close to her. We even meet the airline stewards joining the excursion. As the plane break-ins starts its plunge, the travelers prepare themselves for a turbo. Some are messaging their friends, and Ship Commander Vincent Lombardia, playing himself, sees the plane and informs different ships and crisis reaction divisions as his ship. Thomas Jefferson gets ready to safeguard the travelers who have been isolated onto the two wings. A few travelers end up in the freezing cold water, yet are recuperated. The ship groups begin pulling individuals ready. A portion of the travelers are brought to New Jersey. The more seasoned man, who's with his nephew, gets a call from his child. Since they were isolated, however, they are feeling significantly better to realize that Tarnish is brought to an emergency clinic, and he is informed that every one of the 155 on board had made do. He is subsequently brought to an to remain, and one of the representatives gives him a major embrace, leaving him staggered. He calls Rain to tell her he is all right, despite the fact that she has no clue presently of what has occurred until Sol advises her to turn on the television with their girls. Back in the present, Rain calls Sol and tears as it simply hits her that he was one of the 155 individuals ready, and that she is so frightened to understand that. At the film's peak, Contaminate and Skiles go to a conference with the STEB and different authorities to examine the occurrence. Once more, it's raised that all aircraft testers in the test systems had the option to land at LaGuardia or Teterboro without an issue effectively. Contaminate contends that what they didn't consider was the human variable, for example, involving life and demise, the component of shock, the time expected for examination and direction, and the essentially higher stakes he and Skiles confronted the reenactment pilots knew ahead of the circumstance that they would confront into the recommended crisis activity. They had the option to rehearse the situation a few times, with no travelers to contemplate, and were in no peril themselves. The Chiefs run the tests once more with the obvious response season of 35 seconds, despite the fact that Tarnish over and over specifies that he and Skiles acted in no less than 208 seconds of 3 minutes and 28 seconds of the LaGuardia rear encloses with the plane rival shy of the runway onto dock, and that to Teterboro with an accident into structures before the air terminal, the last option would have certainly left no survivors. Everybody then pays attention to a recording of Saul and Skiles on the trip as they took their action. Adequately, it's to demonstrate to the board that Contaminate and Skiles acted appropriately. After a brief break, Elizabeth Davis then again uncovers that the plane's left motor has been recuperated and it was totally obliterated in the bird strike, as Tarnish had said. That's what she remarks, assuming Tarnish had been taken out from the situation, everything would have turned out badly. Tarnish deviates, saying that everybody on the plane, the air traffic regulators, the ship groups, and the crisis reaction groups likewise merit recognition for the fruitful result. Thank you for watching our video. Hope you like it. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel.